As many of you know, when I was a little girl, I didn't like to play with dolls. My sisters loved to play with their dolls, but I wanted to head outside to the tree and climb the trees. So, in celebration of today's doll show, I made a tree doll. So this is me as a little girl climbing the tree. I made my doll with Cool2Cast, and I want to show you how easy it is to create this. The first thing that you need is a texture plate. This is going to give us the texture on the front of our Cool2Cast doll. The next step is to take your Cool2Cast, just put it into a plastic bag. I love this technique that Eco Heidi taught me. It's so easy to put it into the plastic bag. Just add your water and you seal it back up. Be sure and seal it up very tightly and give it a good shake for about a minute. On this project, you want your Cool2Cast thick because when you pour, you don't want it to be too thin or it's going to spread out. So after you shake it, you check the corners, shake it a little bit longer. You're going to let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes to thicken up. I've let this batch set for about 10 minutes. It's really going to depend on how warm or cool it is in your room for how long it takes. Just cut the corner right off your bag and then you draw your doll. And I'm going to do this upside down so I can see the design from my side. Now you'll notice that I'm going to draw it a little bit smaller than the finished design because we have to tap it out and it's going to flatten out. I think I want to put a little bit more hair up here. So watch what happens when you start to tap. See, you want it to flatten out. So don't make your design too big to begin with. Also, I want to put legs on, so I'm going to squeeze out that design. Now you can cut and shape these when they're finished drying, just slightly. So if the shape, if like your foot is a little bit too long, don't worry about that, because you can shave that down a little bit. So let me turn this toward you. Set this aside to let this dry for about an hour, and let's tap this down. In this particular free pour technique, the back's not going to look so pretty, so keep that in mind. So here's one that I have let set for an hour, and it should pop right off, and there's your design. So what you want to do is take sandpaper to the edge so that you can see on this that it cleans up the edge, makes it much, much smoother. On this particular design, I actually embedded some other texture plates, rubber texture plates, so that gave me an extra design. Here's something that happens if you work with these too quickly. You don't let them dry completely, they can actually break, and so what I did is I broke them both the same and I'll join them together with the jump rings. To color my dolls, I use my alcohol inks, and you can apply just directly right from the bottle, and then you are going to use the extender to get these colors to move around. So keep coloring the entire surface. If you want these colors to start out lighter, you would mix them with the extender first. But this is real cool if you take your spray, this is filled with the extender, to move color around. And you can see that that's lightening it there, so I'll bring some darker colors in. So completely color your design like I've done on my finished example. This is another quick technique that once you have colored your piece, you can see on this when you pour it, it has a raised effect. Well, you can sand that down to give you more of a fossil effect. Also on this, what I did for the face is I pre-poured a face and I put it face down on top of my texture plate, and then I poured over it. So you can see again, the back doesn't look so good, but the front is really pretty. I always love to put my 3D lacquer on the top of all of my pieces. So you would just cover this entire surface in your 3D lacquer. So when we go back and take a look at my finished example, you can see that I actually followed the design just on the raised part to put that 3D lacquer. I'm Tiffany Windsor, and I think it's cool to craft.